Welcome on the cosmic atom. There is a rule in this cosmos that states that even time cannot escape the balance. It will always restore itself. You bring havoc into the world. Chaos circles back. You attempt to trip someone with thorns and wind up bleeding as the trail doubles back. That is how the universe works. It never forgets the selected ones. You were never just a part of this planet. You were the bug in their system. They were unable to control the ripple. They laughed because they believed they had buried you. They praised your quiet. But what they didn't realize was that the stillness was not capitulation. The storm was building power. You were never deleted. You were changing, while they were creating their own demise. And here's the irony that will hurt them the most. Every trap they placed for you became a pit. They got obsessed with watching you fail, which impeded their own progress. The more they attempted to prevent your ascension, the louder the universe became. Your name. See, when you're selected, your very existence disturbs those who assumed you would be forgotten. Your wins are louder. Your return is memorable. You aren't merely back. You take up space in every room. They believed you'd never return. So if you feel that fire inside you rising again, as if the balance is shifting back in your favor, that's because it is. Pause for a moment before we get started on what is going to shock the earth under your foes. If you sense a fire building in your chest, it is not an accident. You're not watching this for enjoyment. You are here because something inside you is awakening. So do this. Smash the like button. Subscribe so that we may awaken more chosen ones like you and drop. I'm unstoppable in the comments section, charging this message with your energy. This isn't a typical reply. They didn't see this coming. The version of yourself that you didn't even realize was loaded. Stay tuned, because at the conclusion of this, you'll understand why the globe will be in a state of surprise. Let's get started. Number 1. Stop confusing loneliness with rejection. You're being relocated to maintain your authority. Make them feel they forced you out. Allow them to believe themselves that they were the ones who rejected you. What they don't know is that you were never abandoned. You disconnected gently and methodically, like pulling a wire before an explosion, like pulling the plug to redirect the current. The cosmos does not spend time deleting things that have no worth. But when it removes you, it means the timetable is going to change. You weren't excluded because you were unworthy. You were taken away because you were too hazardous to be on polluted area. And don't forget this. People that ghosted you deceived you or forced you into silence. They didn't reject you. They were employed to get you out of situations that were harming your growth. The chosen ones. Nothing about your seclusion was random. You were retrieved like a gem from contaminated dirt. Not because you were broken, but because you'd become too uncommon to touch. They could not recognize your worth, but the cosmos did. So it struck you. Think about it. When a weapon is updated, it is not left sitting around. It's brought to the lab, locked up, and improved in secrecy. That's what happened to you. Every single no, every door slammed in your face, every phony grin, every time you question your value. It was all part of the setup. They did not block you. They built you. They felt they were harming you when they turned their backs. But the true anguish is on them now. Because while you were maturing in the dark, they were becoming comfy in the illusion. And now you're back with power that can't be handled, controlled, or ignored. You're not going back into their world. You're going beyond it. Here's what they won't confess. Their worst error was not letting you leave. It was assuming you would stay away. The stillness almost broke you. That was the background noise clearing away, allowing you to hear your actual frequency. The loneliness that served as a shield against the turmoil you were not supposed to bear. The treachery, a filter, removing access for individuals who are unable to see at your next table. You've changed since you left. You're sharper, heavier, and colder in the appropriate areas. Your strength has texture and presence. This was not rejection. This was surgically precise. You walk back inside, not as a person left behind, but as an unexpected storm. Number 2, do not underestimate the gap you created. Only you can replace the void left by your disappearance, whether it was voluntary or forced. Something cracked in the atmosphere. It did not shout. It did not collapse in a noisy manner. But the adjustment was quite slight, silent but seismic. They pretended nothing had changed, as if the energies remained balanced without you. But it was a lie, a frail illusion. They persuaded themselves this, so they wouldn't have to confront the magnitude of what they had lost. They don't comprehend that when a chosen one goes, reality changes. It malfunctions. You are not simply another warm person in the room. You were the anchor, the stabilizer, the frequency that prevented their counterfeit component from collapsing. The instant you pulled back, even if you say nothing, everything needed to change to fill the emptiness. They attempted to replace your presence with noise, fresh faces, diversions, and half-hearted recreations of your vitality. But nothing they grasped for could compare to what you were truly delivering, because they lost more than just you. It was the weight you carried, the invisible power that helped everything make sense. Balance, depth, and edge. They never showed respect until it was gone. And here is when things turn harsh. The version of yourself. They were aware that the version was no longer available. The version that returns is sharper, colder, wiser, and untouchable. You're not just re-entering the room. You are entering a place that no one else can occupy. Your comeback is not about going back. It is about bringing the whole system back into harmony. This is cosmic correction in real time. The world does not just miss you. It is glitching without you. And now the pressure has increased. Now that your quiet has been improved to accuracy, walking back will not be soft. It will be felt in every place where you were previously overlooked. This is not a return. This is a calculated and deliberate choice. They won't only notice you've returned. They'll wonder how they ever managed without you. Number 3, quit trying to fit in. You're supposed to disrupt and reset every room you enter, even the designated one. You have never been merely a person. You've always been a shift, a spark, a quiet reset button waiting to be activated. And now you are back, and the world is not prepared for the pressure you're going to impose. Let's make things clear. You don't strive to alter others. Your whole existence requires it. When you enter a space, you are not required to talk. The air changes and the energy adapts. People glance around and sense something, but they are unable to identify it. That's not a coincidence. That's your sphere of influence. Realigning reality. You've always stood out as an oddball. The individual who caused others to feel uncomfortable or inexplicable is sketched. Some are drawn to you. Others are absolutely agitated. Why? Because your energy causes something that most people dread. It forces them to face their own facade. You go in, and the phony grins seem empty. The rehearsed confidence. It shatters the illusions individuals have clothed themselves and gone. Not because you are assaulting them, but because your honesty undermines their acting. You've never been here to blend in. You cannot. You are not designed to adapt to the system. You are designed to disturb it. That is why just your presence disturbs people to their core. Some people will feel peaceful around you. Others will experience panic. That is not your issue. That is confirmation that you are doing what you are meant to do. And now you've reconnected with your higher self. Your vision is clearer and your aura is more powerful. And, like it or not, your return is more than simply a comeback. It is a collective reset. People will end talks with you and start new. They'll give up destructive behaviors, quit their jobs, and pretend to be buddies. They were hesitant to talk about their dreams. Why? Because something in you ignites something in them. Something antique, something authentic. This isn't about ego. This is about frequency. And your frequency is now too loud to be ignored. You're no longer only a guest in this room. You are the reason why the room is uncomfortable, alive, and obvious, and the whole globe. It's about feeling every aspect of yourself. They did not request a system reboot, yet they are unable to halt it. Number 4, stop believing you've lost your fire. Your crown was being reforged for a larger throne. There were days when you didn't feel like yourself. The spark you used to light up rooms flickered. The confidence that once rendered you invincible, it crumbled. You strolled into the darkness, wondering whether you had lost anything along the way. No, the chosen one. You did not lose anything. You were stripped on purpose. See, average individuals get improvements, but selected ones are reforged. Your crown was not stolen. It was under reconstruction. Not just any crown. This one needed to be fortified to withstand what was coming. Your instincts did not go numb. It became silent. As a result, it could tune in to a certain frequency. The former version of you couldn't feel the tiredness you did. It was not a weakness. It was the weight of fresh power being downloaded into your body. It was a recalibration of a force that needed to be made stronger, wiser, and more precise. Your quiet represented the rewiring. Your perplexity stemmed from the removal of old programming. You were not broken. You were being tuned for elite operations. You couldn't bring your old crown into this new level of warfare. That fragile assurance is gone, as is the brief fire. Not enough. The universe was shaping you to have permanent firepower, an unshakable presence, and a clear mission. Bulletproof energy. You were never supposed to remain gentle. You were never designed to operate on the same fuel as the masses. So, while others coasted, you were crushed. And under that strain, your crown was reforged to be heavier, sharper, and more suited to a throne. Only you could sit there, and now it fits. Your intuition is back. And this time, it's fatal. It's impossible to overlook your aura. The version of you who previously wondered and sought for answers is gone. What remains is a measured and crowned cosmic powerhouse. So, when they see you coming again, they'll say, OMG, who is that? Tell them about someone you should have never questioned. You're not returning as you were. You're coming as the person they feared you'd become. Number 5, do not spend time proving them incorrect. Allow your response to make them regret their doubts. They spoke your name as if it were a joke. They rolled their eyes as you battled and counted you out before the race even began. You were a faded name, a squandered flare, a ghost they assumed would never return. But now, the same people who saw you fall are going to see something incredible. Your resurrection is in full force. See Chosen One. They saw your silence as capitulation, but it was a plan. While they were occupied talking, you were silently jogging laps while they misjudged you. You were honing the sword while they mocked you in the dark. You were the storm that was learning to aim. They didn't understand they were seeing the beginning of their own demise. Because of your return, it is not subtle, it is seismic, and the same tongues that used to ridicule you. They'll be the first to gasp when your name is called out. They cannot be silent. They are now unable to look away. They're in the first row with big eyes. Words became trapped. Every victory you score resonates louder in their vacant chambers. The uneasy, quiet people experience when your name is spoken. That is remorse. Teeth are growing. Your success is not only increasing, it haunts them. But this is not about vengeance. That is too tiny for you right now. This is not about ego either. This is about the truth eventually revealing itself. Because your ascension goes beyond a simple makeover. It's a terrible but bright mirror. And when people gaze into it, they will not just see you. They'll realize what they might have been if they had your passion. Let burn. Let your presence be the weight they can't bear. You will not return with a narrative of survival. You're returning as the lesson they'll never forget. Number 6, stop fleeing from the pain. It was a rite of passage, not a curse. The chosen ones. Let's make one thing obvious. The agony was not random. It was not a horrible quirk of destiny. While others were busy dancing amid diversions, fire was used to improve the system. You were being dropped into the forge. Every scream, tear, and betrayal was not meant to harm you. It was rebuilding you. You were never cursed. You were picked to do the tough work while others were pampered in luxury. You were being prepped by pandemonium. That anguish, that treachery, stole your breath away. It was removing the layers of weakness that you couldn't carry into your new age. To achieve unwavering clarity, you had to let go of your illusions. You had to go alone to realize that not everyone merits your energy, and you had to break free from the falsehoods you formerly believed in order to rebuild yourself. People wonder why you don't fold like them. Why is your quiet louder than their shouting? It's because you were dragged through the flames. They cannot even survive. In theory, and the agony that once made you doubt your value has now become the same aura that causes others to wonder their own. That is the secret they do not know. Your hardship did not weaken you. It screened you. What came out on the other side was not soft. It is bulletproof. It is surgical. It is unstoppable. You do not need to yell about what you've gone through. Your energy speaks for you. When you enter into a room, the air changes because genuine suffering leaves its imprint on you. And those who once saw you collapse are going to see something that shakes their soul, a version of you they didn't know existed. One made not in fancy, but in fire. This was not a breakup. This was a roadmap for dominance. What almost broke? You created something that no one knows how to manage. You are not merely cured. You've toughened. The world has no clue what type of power has just returned to the light. Let's move. Number 7. Stop pushing doors to open. You were concealed to prevent premature exposure. There were times when you felt like a ghost in your own narrative. Regardless of how loud your efforts were, the world answered with silence. Every time you reached the next level, the floor moved. You were exactly back where you began. The doors slammed, and recognition was non-existent. It seemed like you were condemned to see everyone else move while you remained trapped, almost breaking through, but never quiet. But what if that delay served as a shield? Who was the selected one? You were not being refused. You were hiding in plain sight. You were pulled back not because you were unprepared, but because the rest of the world was not. Your timing would have been your undoing if you had acted too soon. The locations you wished to access were still infested with snakes. The acclaim you want would have come from those who were eager to tear you down. The early spotlight would have exposed you to pandemonium. You were not designed to absorb yet. You were not ignored. You were protected. Behind the scenes, the cosmos was preparing your route. False leaders crumble, while manipulators choke on their own vanity. The same individuals who would have thwarted your advancement are now distracted, drained, and unarmed. The stage is no longer poisoned. It has been sterilized, awaiting your arrival. And suddenly things are different. Do you feel it? The air is altered. There's an opening, one that is yours and has not been shared or borrowed. And this time, you're taking on the role that no one anticipated. No more quiet steps, and no more lurking in the background. They will be unable to quit gazing as you go through the front door. Your quiet was not a failure. It was a formation. And now that you've surfaced, the world won't have another opportunity to ignore you. Number 8, do not reduce your frequency. You are designed to bring down the phony systems that surround you. You were not created to fit in. You were created to disrupt systems, falsehoods, and anything else hidden beneath masks and illusions. The chosen one. Your energy does not enter the room. It detonates gently, without asking or warning. That's why they couldn't tolerate you, even though you hadn't said anything. That is why you have always elicited strong emotions, with some expressing tremendous appreciation and others expressing profound opposition. You didn't want to intimidate anybody, but your presence did. Why? because you have a frequency that reveals what is phony. You don't even have to point out the guilt that conceals the deception. Everything begins unraveling the instant you arrive. And now that you've regained your full strength, the game is ended. Institutions, relationships, fake personalities, they were able to stand strong even in your absence. However, your return has now become the moment of collapse. The systems that previously ran uncontrolled are already starting to twitch. People who have formed their lives online can sense it. That uncomfortable realization that you're back and not hiding anymore. You do not need to yell. You don't need vengeance. Your quiet has grown too loud to be ignored. They thought they were afraid of what you may say, but now they are terrified of who you have become. They will resist. They'll deny. Some will fight to preserve the illusions in which they have invested their whole identity in others. They will wake up because your frequency does not just annihilate. It reawakens. It rattles the soul. It unlocks eyes that have been closed for too long. However, nothing will be left undisturbed. You're not here to fit in with the world as it is. You're here to reorganize it. And now that you've returned, even the untouchable is beginning to wobble. Number 9, stop wondering why people are attracted to you. You are the solution they didn't realize they needed. The chosen ones. Your reply is not purely personal. It is prophetic. You are not going back into the world as a familiar face. No, you are returning as the missing piece. Everyone has been discreetly looking for. People will be unable to understand it, but they will experience it. An unexpected quiet, a peculiar pull, and an unsaid understanding. Like, where have you been? The fact is that you've always been on their radar. Not consciously, but energetically. You hold something precious and authentic. It cuts through the cacophony of this fictitious surface-level reality, like a razor through smoke. You're not here to entertain. You're not here to persuade. You are not just a motivating voice in the background. You are the signal their spirits have been listening to for years without ever realizing it. In a world full of phony smiles, synthetic counsel, and superficial affirmation, you behave differently. You do not talk to their brains. You reverberate in their bones. You don't seek attention. You cause a disruption. You don't fit in because you weren't supposed to. You were intended to be felt. Make no mistake, your return is more than simply your tale. It's about unlocking theirs. You aren't here only to shine. You're here to remind them of the brightness they've hidden behind fear, shame, and fabricated identities. At first, they will resist. Some may say, dye your glow. Some will say it's too much. But deep down, they'll sense the truth despite their own denial. They will soon learn that the person they mocked, disregarded, or misunderstood was the one they needed the most. You're not only comeback. You are evidence of the universe's reaction to their quiet screams, the reflection they didn't realize they were ready for. And now that you're back, there's no more hiding. Number 10, do not underestimate your energy. You are a mirror and a lighthouse, compelling others to develop. Let's get genuine. You don't just stroll into a room. You enter like a signal, a code that only certain people comprehend. Some people are attracted to you immediately, as if they've been looking for your energy their whole existence without realizing it. That's not a coincidence. That is recognition. They see something in you that awakens them, not just to you, but to who they were always intended to be. You are a walking ignition switch for transformation. Without speaking, you inspire others to think larger, question deeper, and act differently. It isn't because you're attempting to lead. It's because you live at a frequency that reveals anything false, concealed, or sleepy around you. Your energy functions as both a beacon and a mirror. This is where it becomes disruptive. Not everyone wants to be noticed. Your presence necessitates a level of honesty that most people are not prepared for. You remove the masks without raising a finger. You remind them of everything they've buried, the falsehoods they tell themselves, the roles they've played, and the worries they conceal behind false confidence. And now it isn't simply that they dislike you. They can't face themselves around you. You're not the issue. You are just a reflection of yourself. That does not lie. So don't be shocked if people shun you. Don't be surprised if people attempt to undermine you, talk about you, or feel uncomfortable simply being in the same room as you. That is not rejection. That's a response to your light being too bright, bold, and realistic for their illusions. The chosen one. You aren't merely here to inspire. You're here to disturb, awaken, and reset. Those that are ready will follow you without more explanation. And those who are not, they will either develop or remain behind. Regardless, your presence assures that nothing remains the same. This is why your return feels different. You aren't merely returning. You are recalibrating everything around you. They feel it, whether they confess it or not. Number 11, stop believing you've lost your power. It was resting in preparation for an unstoppable comeback. You used to be unable to identify yourself. The edge that you previously walked with. Gone. The clarity, the fire. That inner scream used to guide the path. Everything seemed like a faraway echo. You weren't just fatigued. You were unplugged from your own frequency and power. And it scared you. You wondered, did I lose it? Did I damage anything that cannot be repaired? But here is the reality. You did not lose anything. Power like yours does not fade. It does not dissipate. It retreats strategically, like a volcano that falls silent. Not because it has died, but because it is loading. Pressure accumulates under the surface until it is ready to explode. Stronger, louder, and more powerful than ever before. Is that where you have been? Not broken, just reloading. The chosen one. Your quiet was not weakness. It was the reset button being pressed. Your quiet was not defeat. It was a recalibration. You weren't designed to work with old fire. You were not designed to operate on fading instincts or repeated patterns. That is a temporary vacancy. It was creating room for something new to emerge inside you. You're going to feel it again, right? The spark is reignited and the energy returns, but with a fresh tone, a sharper rhythm, and a deeper vibrato. This is not about going back to who you were. That version was the draft. This version, this is the power they were unprepared for. Refined, precise, and rejuvenated. What's rushing back is more than simply your previous strength. It's a mutant, updated, evolved version of it, the type that defies categorization and surprises everyone who thought you were done. The type that causes people to whisper, "Wait, who is that?" So, no, you have not lost your fire. It simply went underground and became nuclear. And now that it's rising, nothing can stop what's coming. This is no ordinary comeback. This is arrival number 12. Stop waiting for signs. You are the prophesy everyone has been waiting for. Let's get one thing straight. They were never prepared for you. The world has been monitoring the sky and browsing through old texts, waiting for a big sign that would shake everything. But what if the indication didn't appear in the clouds? What if the dreaded shift appeared on two legs and where in your face? Who was the selected one? You were never just watching the narrative develop. You were the tail. You were the quiet before the explosion. Every interruption is accompanied by a shadow, a component of the puzzle. Everyone ignored it until it was too late. For years, you sensed that weird pull. It seemed as if the world was leaning on you, even when you had nothing left to offer. That was not a pressure. It was the weight of fate knocking. Because when you move, everything changes. Time frames shift, illusions fall, and power systems shake. You've carried something old within you, not learnt but implanted, not taught, coded. You still waited. You paused. You questioned if the fire within you was genuine or simply a mistake. Meanwhile, The world spun in circles, trapped waiting for you. They didn't realize the prophecy didn't include a hero. It was lacking your choice. Your response is the activation. Your movement is the shockwave. You aren't here to repeat history. You are here to rewrite it. And now the mask is removed. The illusions are flimsy. People are longing for authenticity, leadership, and something that cannot be faked, purchased, or acted. And guess what turns up? You? Not too loud, not desperate, simply undeniable. You're the wild card in this game. The reset button. The prophesy is in action. They assumed they had time. But now you're moving and nothing will be the same. This comeback is not about being noticed. It is about being sensed. When they experience it, they will realize they were not waiting for change. They were waiting for you. Number 13. Do not call it comeback. This is the moment. Everything was silently preparing. You for your selected people. Your return is not an accident. You didn't simply stumble back into power. You were summoned. Your ascension was programmed into the timeline long before you recognized what you were carrying. Every delay you experienced, every door that refused to open, and every agonizing moment when you thought, maybe it isn't for me. That was not rejection. That was timing, locking in place like a loaded firearm. Finally, we're ready to shoot. You believed you were slipping behind. But what if you were really ahead? What if your failures become speed obstacles for everyone else? To ensure that no one took the spotlight until you were completely prepared to claim it, while others rushed into pandemonium. You were being positioned silently. The world was not prepared for your frequency. Not till today. If you had risen sooner, you would have squandered your energy and occupied chambers incapable of sustaining your strength. But now, the frequency is now properly matched. The veil is thin, and the stage is now yours. The systems are disintegrating. Masks are dropping. People are waking awake. And in the midst of all this upheaval, here you come, unapologetic, unshaken, unmissable. This is not just a return. It's a confluence of your timing and the world's unraveling. You were never late. You were the last card kept for the last round. No one saw Trump's move coming. Here's the portion that will frighten your adversaries. Nothing can stop what is happening now. Nor rumors, nor manipulation. Not silence. Not even time. Because your return is inscribed in the design of the cosmos itself. It does not need permission. This is not to prove a point. This is about getting into the moment. They attempted to postpone life, divert you, and ignore you, but they couldn't. You aren't strolling in like you used to. You are approaching like a cosmic event, and you can trust this. The world will never recover from the shock of who you have become. Number 14. Stop playing tiny. Your energy is intended to be felt, not just seen. This is beyond what can be seen. The chosen ones. You will not return as a face in the throng. You return on a regular basis. And when you move, everything follows. Your presence does not whisper. It alters the atmosphere. You don't just stroll into a room. You calibrate it. Your return isn't a visible event. It's a vibration felt in the spines of those who attempted to forget you. This is not a typical situation. Come, you're not rising to fit back in. You are rising to interrupt the beat, to demolish the false sense of normalcy that has kept the world unconscious. They tried to silence you, bury you, and remove your influence. But instead, they set off a chain reaction. Your energy, it is now included into the development of this planet. People are waking awake. Structures are deteriorating. Even people who do not believe in energy may sense that something is awry, or rather, something significant is being repaired. That something is you. You do not need to explain yourself anymore. You will not need to publicize your accomplishments or seek accolades. The evidence will be the change in how others respond to you. Some are sucked in by gravity, while others flee as if you were a wildfire. Some people will not comprehend why they are uncomfortable. That's because your presence exposes all lies. They establish their identity on this. You've become the earthquake in their meticulously crafted existence. And this time, you're not coming to warn them. You're about to transform the earth underneath them. And make no mistake, this is about more than simply you regaining what is rightfully yours. This is about creating an uncontrollable ripple effect. Your energy will awaken, demolish a revelation, and build simultaneously. And now we've reached a point. They never anticipated your complete blossoming. The world can no longer ignore how powerful you have grown. You didn't return the same. You returned altered, exalted, and unrecognizable to those who previously misjudged you. This is not just a comeback. It is a revelation. If this message sparked a fire in you, don't let it die. I like this video. Subscribe to join the movement and leave a comment below claiming the rest of the world will feel me. Claim your vitality. Share this with another selected individual. It is time to shock the world collectively. Dear viewers, your support through Super Chat and membership is the only source of income that keeps this channel running. If you want me to continue uploading valuable content without delays and to stay motivated in providing you with the best wisdom, I need your help. Every contribution, big or small, makes a huge difference. Feel free to donate and support Pure Wisdom so we can keep growing together. Your generosity keeps this journey alive.
If you're enjoying the content on Pure Wisdom and find value in the messages we share, I encourage you to subscribe. Based on the latest analytics, 93.9% of viewers are watching without subscribing. By subscribing, you not only stay updated with new content, but also support the channel's growth, allowing us to continue spreading wisdom for the chosen ones. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important message. Let's build this community together.